Hey yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. And today we've got Hunter Steele, Hunter_Steele, and his Challenger Tier 7 British TD, turreted TD, sort of. It's got about 60 degrees or so, I think, azimuth on each side. Interesting little TD. Doesn't hit very hard, unlike their higher level TDs, which hit okay. They don't really have that huge alpha until you get into the FV kind of idea or the poo barn. This one is quite small though on the alpha. I want to see it's 260. I think it was buffed recently. It was even worse at one point. Didn't this thing used to have like a 140 or 160 alpha gun for a long time? I think it did. But that's not bad. 260, that'll work. So he is here on Kharkov. So the reason I have his replay is he put it on the forum. And right now I can't find the thread. I'll keep looking because I want to let him know that I've done this. But he asked for help. He said, hey, how could I have done this better? And I thought it was an interesting one for everybody. He's in a Tier 7, Tier 6 battle, so he's top tier. Here on, again, what is it? Kharkov, that's right. And he goes to kind of a standard spot. We're going to get to the end of it. Kind of a heartbreaker at the end. He doesn't quite get where he wants to be. This is interesting because you're showing that you've got knowledge of the bush idea where if the bush is solid, you're not going to be seen if you fire. But it's hard to see what's going on if you don't get forward. What I like to do here is I get forward, make the bushes invisible so I can see through them, and wait and see what the enemy team is doing, and then get an idea of what the lay of the land is, and then when you get a highlight you can pull back and take your shot. That's what I like to do initially, and it looks like we're going to start thinking about that right here, so we get a little bit of vision where we can actually see the ground and what we're shooting through. Somebody takes a blind shot in there. There we go. So we put a nice little shot on that guy. Gets us 210. Oh, that was quite the low roll, wasn't it? 260 alpha, is that what we're working with? And that's a bummer. Let's say bummer of a shot. The auto aim thing, you're going to do this a lot. I know some people mentioned it who were trying to give you some help on the forums. Probably not really required there. I think you can aim better by zooming in and taking a more aim shot right there. The auto aim for me is more of a close in thing where I know I don't need to aim at all. Just go center of mass. Ended up working for you on that one. So we get a couple shots in. 3485 is over there. And we're going to move forward. All right, approaches. You're going to have a lot of issues with your approaches, and I want to talk about it a little bit. Right now, there's so many guns in the game, and you have a scout out in front of you, and you know that that whole ridge is probably covered in guys. You would expect it to be. All right? I would have gone down and around. Don't go busting through this bush. Let a scout sitting up here get you spotted and give away a bunch of hit points to guys camping back there. The approach should have been around this way down low. Take that low ground and get up towards the 3485, and I believe you get away with it, but it has nothing to do with making a good approach and everything to do with you got lucky the 1357 or somebody else didn't see it, and you're still sort of even challenging guys with good vision up here to see you. Take a look at your white circle. It's starting to cover that building right there. Pretty soon they're going to have a pretty good idea or get a spot on you. You get away with it. So we're going to come up here. Now we're going to talk about using this terrain up here and giving away hit points when you don't need to, because one of your biggest mistakes in this game is what happens in this sequence coming up. And it was mentioned to you on the forum, and it's very true, that when you look at the last part of the game and go, hey, how do I make this last part of the game better, you have got to look at the whole game and figure out how many votes you preserve towards the end of the game. And by votes, I mean how many hit points do you come to the end of the game with, so that you then have options of trading or dealing with guys, out DPMing them, that kind of thing. What that means is you want to try to keep as many hit points at this point of the game as you can while still dealing damage. So it is a bit of a trade-off. Can I get damage, and can I do it without wrecking my tank and losing all my votes? So we're going to come in here, kind of come up and over here, and then we wander around. When you make these pokes, have a plan for what you think you're looking for. That, to me, that was just a, hey, is someone there? And a lot of times when you go, hey, is someone there, you find out because they pop you in the turret and take hit points. And they say, yep, I am here. And sometimes you don't even get a light off of it. So if I'm going to peek in a case like that, I would have been zoomed in and come up and over and just kind of look real quick. And I would have been zoomed in because I want to know how much of my tank is exposed. I know that if I zoom in, I'm looking from about the top of my turret, I think is the vision point right above it. Or it's not turret, sorry. Top of my gun is the vision point. So I'm only exposing that forehead right there, right? The top part of my turret. And then I'm going to look in the direction I expect somebody to be. Not just wander around. You can do that with scouts, and to some extent that can be an acceptable technique. But right now, why just put my tank out in the open and get shot? And we're going to let this go because it becomes a problem later on. We're just kind of coming in here, and we're going to try to get in this bush, and we take a hit. Boom, boom. You had to expect that to happen, right? We don't have a lot of good lights. The light tank was last seen down there. Down in there is a common hiding point, that bush especially, right there for people. And of course up top, because this bush is not very wide, you can even be spotted by guys. I can't get to the elevation down enough, but you can even be spotted by guys in those bushes over there. So you basically walked out into an open area and said, shoot me. Scouting by fire, right? And they obliged. You kind of get away with it, right? You got some lights, and now we're down some more hit points, but we lost about a third of our hit points right there that we didn't want to lose, okay? So we have to learn from that. I'm going to let this go. You have to learn from things like that. I don't know, because I have mine set up. I don't know if you have the indicator from which way fire comes from. If you don't have that set up, go into your settings and set that up. All right, it's on the markers section. If we do this and we go to settings, you go over to battle notification. It's here. That's it. See these right here? You need these turned on. Friendly, critical hits, advanced. I have it all on there. You can go dynamic if you want. But I have it set up so I know what airplane. I know what tank it is and what damage and what the direction is that I took shots from. Because what you just found out is the scout's down here and there's a Cromwell somewhere back here unspotted. So the 1357 hit you. You knew he was there. The Cromwell hit you. You did not know he was there. You do now. And then you got a Su-100 up there. Did you get hit by anything else? Yes, there's a Comet involved as well. So both the Comet and the Cromwell are back here. Sorry, you're the Comet. Brain fart. The Cromwell 1357. Okay? They're there. You know that. And we come over here and we ask them to shoot us again. It doesn't happen. So we think, oh, that's good. They're not going to shoot me. They can't see me. So I'll just come over here, use this little building. And we'll see. No, knock the building down. And we'll look. Uh-oh, they see us again. I mean, you had to know that was going to happen. So in the sequence of about a minute or so, we've gone from full hit points down to 253, which are all votes that we needed for later on in the game. And it was a completely 100% avoidable, especially the second poke. Especially the first one, okay, I'm being aggressive looking for shots. Okay, we talked about how you might want to do that a little bit better. The second one was just asking to be hit by the exact same guys, and they obliged. And now we're at 253 hit points. Holy cow. We don't have a lot of options now. There's very few tanks on the board we can take more than 2 hits from, and there's several that we can only take 1 hit from. The 45 TP and the T29 especially. And even the Stare, if he gets a high roll, can take us out. JP can probably kill us with 1 shot from artillery if he hits us directly. A high roll from the Tiger 131 can, so you get my point. There's a lot of guys who can take us out. I thought this was also dangerous. Just again coming up, if you zoom in, they can see you from here and they can easily hit you. So we're going to come in here and kind of mess around. And we back out, and that's your camera. I'm not really sure why we're looking to the right. And we just back. And we dither around. The Cromwell is moving up, so maybe you're looking for potential lights right there. Not a bad idea. I think you're asking to be seen once again, and then we kind of come up here. Holy cow, what are we doing here? Oh, there's a guy there. We'll come up here. Now we're highlighted on a ridge. Will we get a shot? 1357 fell back, so you probably have an option to move in, and then we don't. I was a little bit torn when I saw you do this during the game, because I felt like maybe, based on your speed and where the enemy tanks are, you might have had a chance to move in and work on their guys back at the cap, because that's where your guys went, and clear them out, and then you could have got back with your speed to deal with anything getting onto your cap. As a general rule, I lean towards go back, but I think you had an opportunity there to help your guys at the cap, and they kind of get wrecked. It becomes a bit of a draw. You can see they've knocked down a couple of your guys right there. The Cromwell's still alive. Their Cromwell's coming in. The 3045 is attempting to help. The stair is doing nobody any good right now, although he is looking like he's going after the dude's pushing onto the cap, and then he pushes down into the buildings down there. So we come up here and we sit. So that's what I'm talking about. I think that time would have been better spent in the north, taking out the guys at the cap, and then you could have flexed back to your cap and dealt with if the 131 or T29 gets on cap. The problem with not helping the guys in the north, and it happens on this map a lot when people go back and they don't clear the guys out towards the north, is they all fold back to the south, and all of a sudden their guys from the north come back into these points, nice shot, up to these points here and start shooting you in the side as you're attempting to hold this hill and kill guys down below. It's pretty easy to get a crossfire, and while the high ground here is kind of a strong point looking down on the cap, it's not very strong when there's guys up behind you getting lights on you. Can be a bit of a trick. Your Cromwell's still running around down there. Probably he should have fallen back, and then he runs into the T29. See, the T29 went back. T29 said, I got a problem on cap. I'm the big dog. I'm just going to go ahead and go back to cap, clear the guys out at the cap, and we'll deal with the enemy cap in a minute. Would have been nice to have been done with their Cromwell if you'd have gone in there and helped them real quick. So the stairs sort of watching. I saw you going in thinking you were going to make it happen. This is probably a good idea. I think I would have zoomed in on that one, man. There's that auto aim thing again, and at that range, it's center of mass, and it's even, look, you can watch it as it's going. It's even slightly left of center of mass because he's moving from left to right on your screen, and there's no lead calculation on auto aim, which means the faster that thing's going from left to right, the worse off it is as far as lead fire goes. This is a relatively slow tank, but even at that range, that's a pretty bad aim point. You need to be aiming about right here in front of him so your shell can meet the guy, right? You want the shell and the tank to do that. If you're aiming back here, then the shell does that, goes right past and misses him. So I think that first shot definitely should have been a zoom and not an auto aim. This is a much better attempt right here, and he actually gets tracked. Fantastic. I think that's an artifact of the game. You actually fired zoomed in and it pops out like that on the replays for whatever reason. So good on you for taking the blind shot knowing he was probably still there. That was huge. So there's a Cromwell, a Tiger 131, and an M44, and this looks like it should be a pretty easy win, right? I don't know what the stair does. We'll see this as it goes. It's pretty incredible, though. He has a really hard time. The Cromwell jumps all over him. So we're going to come around here. And now it's about, this is the part of the game where players who are learning to get better have the most trouble because they don't often get there, especially if their survival rate is low. And so figuring out how to close the deal on games like this can be difficult for a new player. And we go back to all the hit points you lost earlier. Your votes are much less than you would like them to be. Okay, you can really only take 2 hits from the Tiger, and maybe 2, maybe 3 off the Cromwell, but probably 2. And even the M44 can probably end you with a hit and a pen. So we're gonna have to be careful about this. Whereas if we're running around with a lot more hit points, we might be able to be a bit more aggressive on these guys. This looks good though, right? You got the high ground stairs down below. Maybe we can find one of their guys and start putting some damage on them. Let's see what happens. The 131 was last seen at the green cap, so you do need to keep an eye on that because if he jumps on the cap, you're probably going to have to go back and deal with him. And it might be even tricky if the Cromwell and the 131 manage to get on cap right now. But they don't. Look at this. This is a full hit point stair. The stair puts a hit on the Cromwell, and we're going to hang out up here. He gets a little ram damage, and now the stair is attempting, and the stair gets some hit, and there's an artillery that misses, and the stair's down to, oh my gosh, now he's getting rammed, and oh my god, oh man, and he got him, but he only left himself 41 hit points. So okay, great, we got the Cromwell out of the way. Unfortunately, M44 is able to bomb the stair, so we've got 3 Arty against a 131 and 1 Arty and you. Approaches. When you came off that hill and started pushing in to try to help, I thought that was not a bad idea. It was a little aggressive coming across the middle because if the 131 showed up, he was going to get you out in the open. Once the Cromwell died, I would not have crossed this hill. Absolutely not. I would have cut right, probably, and headed back this way, up towards our cap, and just clear that side and see if the 131's over there. This move through the middle, you're going to get away with it, but I absolutely would not have done that because the 131 was probably charging hard towards that fight, and about the time the Cromwell died, I would have expected him to show up, but he didn't, so he got away with it. But my guess would have been, at the time, crossing that open area was not a great idea. Be careful about seeing things that work that aren't great ideas and assuming they are great ideas. There's a lot of examples like that. A little hiccup right there. So we're headed back to cap. I think this is a good idea. And again, approaches matter. Because you went across the middle and got yourself in this ravine, you don't have a lot of good choices on getting out of the ravine without going across a bunch of open area. That's again why I would have come all around, hooked a right, came all the way across the back and got back up on this hill and said, all right, what's going on? Then we could approach down on the west side right here. So once we get on the hill, south side, we get on the hill, take a look, down the south side, and then make a break for this cover here and start working our way through this area and the buildings. Careful to go around the corners and peek and see what's going on and try to find this Tiger 131. This guy tells you the Tiger has 300 hit points. We're going to find out he's wrong. The Tiger lost about 300 hit points. Sometimes SA from your buddies is good. Sometimes it's bad. You might look at that and go, ooh, 300 hit points. Well, I should be able to take a hit from him unless he gets lucky and I can double tap him because I reload quickly. But let's find out what his hit points are because you don't actually have that option. This right here is just a poor choice. There's no way to put your gun on this guy, and there's no reason to drive up and over a bunch of rubble. Come around to the right side here. Come around to the right side here where your gun's level and peek and take a look. Is he around that corner? Are you catching him moving around? Is he over there somewhere? But as it is, you're basically just driving around until you light him without any real consideration about whether you're exposing yourself too much to do it. And I would say you're absolutely exposing yourself too much. I will tell you that I think moving through these buildings was your better idea. And you can come to corners and peek and see if he's there. Come to these little things, peek out. But you just basically drive completely out in the most open roads. And again, you get away with it. But that doesn't mean it was a great idea. Just easy for him if he's sitting on one of these corners waiting for you to move around to get a nice aim shot. And all of a sudden you find him. Actually, your GW finds him, unfortunately. And that's about the worst case. You're too far away. Your arties, for whatever reason, are up there by his cap. Hard to understand. I like the aggressiveness, and maybe they thought they were going to jump on cap with you and you bailed out the other way. But they should have fallen back from that area and just got back to the west side of the map and hid in a corner. Now, I think you're going after artillery. Man, I don't know. He's gone dark. He hasn't pushed your artillery. Let's see what happens here. We're going to try to, they are going to try to cap. You try to go up this, but you can't get up it. That costs you some time. That's just map awareness right there. You have to come up around this side of it. We've got HE loaded. Looks like we're looking for HE for the artillery. Nice shot on it. And HE just lets you down, man. It just lets you down. You're going to need a high roll to kill him with one shot. So maybe at the end of the day it doesn't matter. But I can see you actually putting another HE round on this guy and not doing 148. Whereas if you hit him with AP, you are going to do your damage. That's to taste to some extent. I can't stand HE in these situations. It was the more sure way, I guess, with good RNG of taking 315 hit points off the guy since you only have a 260. It's 260 alpha and you're going to need a super high roll. I don't even know if you can get there. 50. Yeah, you can get there. Just barely, right? Maybe not. 315 might actually be the actual high roll that you can get. Anyway, I don't want to do the math in public. Would have been close on the high roll. But HE lets you down. So we do that. Now he's coming. And I did not understand that because I think if you'd have stayed up high, you could have stayed with your gun on him and you would have had him before he could turn. And we, and he misses, thank goodness. So we can go in here and just take this guy down. There we go. All right. Good enough. We got that done. There's the 131. He's killed our GW. Now how do we handle this guy? Again, it's about approaches. I want to go to places where I can cover up and stay out of trouble. I like this little move. I thought that was actually a good idea. I would have gone to APCR, by the way, right here, because I need these shots to go in. And you're not carrying heat, so it's not going to hurt you as far as bad angles or eating tracks eating it, things like that. APCR is just a straight upgrade really over your AP. And this is one of the reasons you carry it. You've got a close game and you want to make those shots count. So I would have absolutely used number 2 right here. All right, that approach is what I'm talking about. You just drive around the corner. Thank God he wasn't just sitting there. I'd have come to this corner and peeked. You know, if you just come out and go back, maybe, just maybe you see him and you spoil a shot and you get the free shot. But if you come raging around the corner like that, show you what you're doing with your camera. You're just giving him an opportunity, and it looks like both of you kind of did a double head fake because he's charging your way, you fake one way and go the other, and now it's the ring around the rosy. Where in the heck did this Tiger 131 go? And what you want to do here is try to get this to where you can get one of your artilleries involved. And it's interesting that you've got one on each side of the map, so you've probably got a few more options angles-wise on what you can do. So we come around this corner. We're at 3 minutes. It's not an emergency yet, but we do need to find this guy. And then, I thought this was extremely dangerous. We're just going to drive across the open. I don't know where the guy went. I would have expected he was charging towards me around this corner, which would have meant I'd have expected him to be here. You get lucky that he's not. We just rage across, but we're just driving out in the open, man. Also, this is your camera. As I'm driving, looking for this guy, I'm doing this. I'm like, where is he going to come from? I need to see a tree down. I need to see him. I need to see where my escape routes are, but we're just sort of driving out in the middle of the road, kind of hoping that he doesn't get a shot on us. Right through the middle, again, just driving around. Good job not getting on the cap. I would have avoided that as well. That would have let him know somebody is there. And look at it. This is just out in the open, man. It's okay. We go down to this low area. Oh, there he is. And he's still kind of moving. For whatever reason, doesn't come after you. Your artillery goes in. And then we back out. And I think I'd have waited or moved to where I could use that little spot right there. If he was just going to drive through it, come out into the open. Artillery went in. It looks like he might have taken some hit points off of him. And he had 700 hit points. Remember the guy told you it was 300? Well, 700 is a completely different story with your hit point total and his hit point total. That's at least 3 hits for you, and you're not taking 3 hits from him. This is crazy. Man, you need to shoot. Just shoot at the guy. There we go. Approach. You knew he was there, and we drove right out into the middle of the road. And Artie's going to have a hard time shooting into buildings. He had 700 hit points. That was a terrible decision. Absolutely a terrible decision. Should not have been driving straight out into the middle of the road. This is one of those things where I talk a lot about, what's the plan, right? I think the plan for you seems to be I'm just going to drive around and hope I can get shots on him. Or maybe I think I'm spotting him and artillery will do my work. And if I'm moving fast enough, maybe I'll spoil a shot. All those things could have been going through your mind. This one I also can't understand. Your camera is turned around so you can see where you're going. You're not paying attention to where this guy may show up. I would expect him to be coming around the corner. If I was him and I had you down at 29 hit points, I would get rid of you as soon as possible, because the faster I get rid of you, the sooner the Artie stops shooting at me. And for you, you're just backing up, looking where you're going and not paying attention to what he's doing. So what you wanted to be doing was looking this way and backing up. All right, so interesting to me that you kind of went to these bushes. I might not have made this choice, but something's going to happen here which could be hugely to your benefit. This guy shows up. Watch this. You're double bush right there, man. That bush. Now, it depends on the model of the bush. Some of these things are not very thick, but you're getting some double bush action. You probably had an opportunity to take a shot, and I think I would have gone after his. Looks like you can only get his turret right here because of the ground. But we're going to watch this. It surprised me a little bit. Got him auto-aimed. There's another opportunity for double bush action. And what I would have done here is backed out to make that bush solid that's right in front of you and started taking shots, man. Back out, make that front bush solid, and then he's double bushed. And even if somehow he comes around one of those other bushes in front of you, you've still got that bush solidified. Now, he's going to know you're there, but you're also going to draw him towards you if he wants to charge at you, potentially, and get some artillery on that guy. And he's 3 shots from dying. But what we do is we just kind of sit here. And I don't know if you thought Artie was going to hit, but look at the angles Artie is from. The one Artie's over here. So he's covered up from that guy. The other one's over here. He may have some okay shots on him, but as he backs up, he's got no shots, really. Then he comes forward again. He doesn't really know where he's spotted from. There you go, another opportunity. So that's your second shot, right? You took the one, you took the second one. Now he probably reacts to that and comes at you. Oh, man. Also, look at this. As you once you back out and make that bush in front of you solid, just go for that front track and track him. That will slow him down coming at you. I mean, this game's over right here. If you'd have just started firing, like I talked about, use the bush mechanics. You used them earlier. Hey, you had a good idea. And I think maybe you're trying to avoid him from... And then once he starts doing that, look at this. Other bushes in front of us. And now you're definitely getting some double bush action. I mean, it's just an absolute massacre waiting to happen, but you don't shoot. And I'm just like, shoot, shoot. Right there, that's the perfect time. Because if he wants to turn around and come at you, you just look at the opportunities. So many opportunities to win this thing right here. I think we're finally going to take a shot at the end here. There we go. We get 318. Boy, that was a high roll right there. So 318, was that the high roll? That may be the high roll. 315 is what we were talking about earlier, right? Very interesting. And we just wait. 42 seconds, man. He's down to a one shot. Shots going in. Kind of wander this way. Approaches matter. It looks like we're maybe trying to go to the bushes. I'm not really sure. Got 26 seconds. So we're just driving. We take it wide. We go, oh my gosh, don't kill ourselves. That I cannot believe you didn't lose your hit points. We come around the corner. We got 12, 13 seconds, 10. Where is this guy? We stop. Oh, 8. Are we going to make it happen? 5, 4, 3. And, oh, there he is. It's 0. We end up losing. Oh, just as we got the gun on to get the shot. 134 hit point. Tiger 131 ends up in a draw. That is a heartbreaker. Heartbreaker, but I'm telling you, you had multiple opportunities in there to win that. So I hope that helps you out, man. I'll send you a note, let you know that I put this on the channel because I can't find the thread, whether you deleted it or it was maybe somewhere else. I was looking in general. That might not be where it was. I can't remember. I do remember downloading the replay to take a look at it for you. Opportunities in there. So opportunities lost on giving away hit points and opportunities not taken end game on mechanics and figuring out when it is that I needed to actually go after this guy. It was a good thing to try to get your Artie involved, but you definitely, that 260 alpha gun could have barked a few times and would have been a nice win at that point. I hope this helps, man. Good luck in the future. That's all I've got for everybody else. We will see ya.